Welcome back to Cakes by Madalena. Today I'm creating a Hello Kitty inspired birthday set that includes a vintage cake and matching cupcakes. In this video, we're focusing just on the cupcake set, and I'll walk you through a few fun design ideas that are simple to replicate at home. Before I even start baking, I like to prep some of the little details in advance. Having decorations ready ahead of time keeps me calm and organized, and it makes the actual decorating process so much more enjoyable. Let's begin with Hello Kitty's face. I tested out two different methods so you don't have to. One using royal icing and the other with fondant. Both were successful, so it really comes down to your comfort level and which medium you prefer. To keep things consistent, I'd first made a template. I hopped onto Google Images, found a simple Hello Kitty face, and dropped it into a Word document. I resized the image to about 2 inches in size, printed out a sheet of them, and then placed parchment paper over top so I could trace and build my decorations. I'll start with royal icing. I'm still fairly new to working with this medium, so having it pre-made was a huge help. Straight out of the tub, it's quite thick, so I scooped some into a bowl, added a drop of water, and mixed it until it was the right consistency for flooding. Then I piped the outline and filled in the face shape using my template underneath. After flooding the shape, I used a scribe tool to pop air bubbles and gently nudge the icing into the template shape. Then I set everything aside to harden. Next, I tried making the face with fondant. I started with about a 1-inch ball of white fondant, pressed it over the template, and shaped it into an oval. For the ears, I tried sculpting them as part of the same piece, but I wasn't happy with the lines. Instead, I ended up adding the ears separately, smoothing the seams with my tool. It left a faint joint, but honestly, it wasn't noticeable once finished. The nice thing about fondant is that it sticks to itself, so I didn't even need glue for the ears, just press and smooth. In the end, I loved both versions. The royal icing faces looked so clean, while the fondant had a softer, slightly more dimensional look. The tiny seam in the fondant ears really wasn't that noticeable, especially once everything was assembled at the party. The method you choose really boils down to personal preference and comfort level with each medium. Both were successful in my eyes. For the facial features, I stuck with royal icing, but instead of piping directly onto the faces, I piped them onto parchment paper over my template. This gave me more accuracy, prevented the black icing from bleeding onto the white face, and gave the whiskers a nice 3D effect in the end. Truthfully, I didn't trust myself to pipe directly onto the face flawlessly either, so this was a better route for me. Once hardened, I attached everything with edible glue, also from Satin Ice, and it held up perfectly. To color the icing for details like the eyes and nose, I added gel colors, black and yellow. A little tip, my piping bags were way too stiff for this, so I switched to a snack-size Ziploc bag. Honestly, it worked better, gave me more control, and I could still cut the opening to the exact size I needed. Also, for royal icing, I recommend skipping the piping tip. Just cut a tiny hole in the bag, you'll get cleaner results for those finer details. I learned that the hard way. Now, Hello Kitty wouldn't be complete without her bow. I made these from pink fondant using a square cutter. I cut a small 1-inch square in half, pinched the sides to shape each loop, added some lines with my tool to create a tufted bow look, and glued them together with a little ball of fondant in the center. Simple, but super cute. Now let's move on to decorating the cupcakes. For the first design, I piped a bed of buttercream ruffles using tip 80 and my favorite Color Mill baby pink gel color. I deepened the shade slightly with a few extra drops for this one. Once the ruffles were in place, I added the Hello Kitty face on top. She instantly became the star of the show. For the second design, I used a 1M open star tip to pipe a swirl of frosting. This created the perfect spot for my mini chocolate bar topper. I make these often when cake decorating. I used pink candy melts to create these, and I'll link the how-to tutorial in the description. For the third design, I piped the same swirl with the 1M tip but finished with sprinkles. I made some pink on white versions and white on pink ones so the colors alternated across the set. Little touches like that make a display look cohesive but still fun. For the fourth design, I switched to a round piping tip, 1A, and piped a smooth base to place more fondant bows. Since I'd already had success with the bows on the Hello Kitty faces, I thought it would be sweet to make some standalone versions too. And finally, using the same round tip, I created another simple base topped with tiny fondant hearts in pink and white. When put together, the set looked so charming, lots of variety, but everything tied together beautifully. My little niece was absolutely thrilled when she saw it. For her party, I displayed the whole set on an acrylic stand with standard cupcakes, mini cupcakes, and the matching vintage-style cake. It gave a lovely layered look, and it became such a special birthday centerpiece. I hope you enjoyed this Hello Kitty cupcake tutorial. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. I love chatting with you guys. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more cake and cupcake tutorials just like this one.